Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with a review of Santino's Royal Rumble Lottery Spectacular. This was a WWE Network special that aired on the WWE Network tonight. That was horrible, but honestly, I'm going to keep going with it because this is the first time out of about 15 takes I've got it right. Honestly, tonight, the special wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought that tonight's show was going to be more of like a backstage press conference sort of feel with announcers, sort of calling wrestlers in, and then the wrestlers would be announcing that they would be competing in the 2015 Royal Rumble. They would grab a ball out of the Royal Rumble tumbler, and they wouldn't tell us what number they got. That would take away a lot of the special feel of the Royal Rumble when the countdown starts counting down to see who's going to be coming out. If you know who's coming out, it takes away a lot of that, surprise, when the buzzer goes off and you're like, oh, it's fucking Kofi Kingston. I'm going to sit my ass back down. But, I thought that's what the special was going to be. They had a lot of breaking news on the WWE Network lately, and I thought this special was going to be more of like a backstage feel, like sort of showing live what was happening at the main event and SmackDown tapings tonight. That's the way I would have done it. But it turns out this special ended up being 44 minutes, and I sat through this and I really enjoyed watching this. It ended up being sort of like a best of Royal Rumble. Santino would pull numbers out of the tumbler. He wouldn't show us the ball, but he would tell us what the number was, and he would sort of talk about what that was. Of course, you can't have a best of Royal Rumble without talking about Santino at the 2011 Royal Rumble. This is something that will always have a special feeling to me, honestly. I remember, freaking yeah, 88, it's Miguel. I don't know why I have to give him three names every time I talk about him. He's my best friend in the world when it comes to wrestling. He's a huge Alberto Del Rio fan, and I remember the feeling of thinking Alberto Del Rio won the Royal Rumble. I immediately wanted to call him. I was on a 3-hour delay because I had worked. He saw the live show. I was watching the tape show. I'm calling to congratulate him, and as he answers the phone, Santino pops back up in the ring, and it turns out he wasn't eliminated. He went under the bottom rope, and I'm freaking out as I'm trying to talk to him, thinking that Santino is actually going to win the Royal Rumble, and he's trying to get me to calm down without telling me that the spoiler of what's going to happen. I'm flipping out. I just fucking hang up on him, and as he's about to eliminate Alberto Del Rio is able to slip and sort of flip Santino at the same time, where he does win the thing. They go from showing Santino's brightest Royal Rumble moment to talking about Roman Reigns last year eliminating 12 guys. This is one hell of a rookie way to start off your Royal Rumble career. Already having 12 eliminations. Roman Reigns is easily the heavy favorite to win this year's Rumble, but how do you do that and sort of improve off what you did last year, eliminating 12 guys? From there, they start talking about, the Rumble hijinks. All Royal Rumble matches, they all sort of have a comedy spot. They have some suspense. They have some really good wrestling, just trying to sort of show everybody a little bit. The Rumble matches always last about an hour. So you have to have a little bit of everything. In 2002, they showed one of my favorite Royal Rumble spots, Hurricane. Shane Helms, one of my favorite guys. He was in the ring, and it turns out he was in there with two of the biggest stars of the wrestling in 2002, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. I've never done a review on this, but in case you didn't know, I was at the 2002 Royal Rumble. I wasn't in good seats. I was in the beer drinking seats, way up top with my good buddy Christian. I'll always remember that. It was a great moment. But Hurricane came down there, and he set up to do a double choke slam on Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. And the best part about it was they actually sold it, where Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H got ready to take the choke slam, and then it seemed like halfway through the move, they remembered this as fucking Hurricane, and they stopped fighting each other to eliminate Hurricane Helms. They grabbed him and they flew him out of the ring. Basically, I can't remember if it was the King or JR makes the the comment about him flying out of the ring, and of course he flew out of the ring because he's wearing a cape, and then Stone Cold and Triple H started beating each other up. They show Bushwhacker Luke coming down. I think this is like in the 90 Rumble, where basically he, comes bushwhackering down, and as he hits the ring, he starts the bushwhacker thing, and then he goes all the way to the other side, and he flies out over the top. That's a funny moment. They talk about the Stone Cold Steve Austin win. Of course, this was at the 1997 Royal Rumble. They still give Austin the credit for it, but I always love the way that he cheats to win by basically getting eliminated, but because on the outside you have Mankind and Terry Funk involved in a fight. The referees are all trying to break it up so no one sees Stone Cold Steve Austin eliminated. So he slips back into the Rumble. He eliminates Bret the Hitman Hart, and that sets up the fatal four-way in your house. Even though they ended up having the four-way to find out who the real winner was to get the title shot, at WrestleMania, Austin still gets credit for it. He's the only guy who's ever won 3 Royal Rumbles. Of course, they talk about Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, who were back-to-back Rumble winners, with Hulk Hogan winning the 1990 and 1991. Shawn Michaels would go on and win the 1995 and 1996 Royal Rumbles, and those are always, feathers in their cap. And of course, when Shawn Michaels was on the Raw reunion this Monday, he said basically you couldn't become a legend, you couldn't become a WWE champion without winning the Royal Rumble. So it shows you how much this really means. One of the greatest moments of all time that sort of will never be surpassed was Mick Foley competing in the 1998 Royal Rumble as 3 different competitors coming out to start the match as Cactus Jack, being eliminated, coming back as Mankind, and then polishing it off as Dude Love as the whole deal. They talk about some of the most controversial Royal Rumble moments, which was the 1994 Rumble with Bret Hart and Lex Luger as the final 2 guys, and then basically them meeting each other in the middle of the ring, hugging each other, dragging each other over to the ropes, and both throwing each other over the top. The big debate, whether if Bret won, whether if Luger won, whose feet touched the floor first. One gets credited as the winner, then the other one gets credited as the winner before the Fink finally says that both guys won, which then brought them to WrestleMania 10, which basically set up a tournament where Luger would face Yokozuna in the first round, just so it wouldn't be a disadvantage. Bret the Hitman Hart had to wrestle his brother in one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. Then Bret would go on and wrestle Yokozuna in the finale of WrestleMania. And he would win the championship, and setting up an awesome feud, Bret versus Owen, to go from there. They had a huge playoff. Santino talking about how big of a Hall of Shame, loser that the Warlord was, being eliminated from the Rumble by Hulk Hogan in 2 seconds when he came down and got into the ring and posed, and Hogan came from behind and threw him out. Of course, then Corporate Kane came in and made him play the tape of Santino being eliminated from the Royal Rumble in 1.9 seconds. Then that Kane made him show a film talking about how great Kane was. He's been active in 17 Royal Rumbles. One of those he finished second in. In 2001, he eliminated 11 competitors. And they talked about all the people that Kane has eliminated. I was really surprised that they hyped up the fact that he's eliminated 3 Hall of Famers. And I'm thinking about how many guys Kane has eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and only 3 of them had been Hall of Famers. One had been Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Another one was Roddy Piper. I can't remember who the third one was. They talk about, guys being able to knock out their partners and people turning on each other inside of the Rumble. And one of the biggest guys of all time to do this was Hulk Hogan, who in the 1989 Royal Rumble sparked interest in the Mega Powers by eliminating Macho Man Randy Savage on accident. And then, they play up the fact that in the 1990 Royal Rumble, which had one of the biggest moments in Royal Rumble history, in my opinion, was with a stare down, setting up WrestleMania 6, which was Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. In this, basically 2 guys had Hulk Hogan on the ropes. Ultimate Warrior came from one side of the ring and made the save where Hogan wouldn't be eliminated. And then basically Warrior's in the same position on the other side of the ring, and Hogan comes running up and attacks the two guys. At the same time, the two guys drop the Ultimate Warrior. Warrior goes storming off to the back. He's all pissed off. Hogan gets to stay in the ring. Hogan ends up winning the match. I think that's the one that he eliminated Earthquake in order to secure his win. I think that was the 1990. No, that would be 1990. So he eliminated Mr. Perfect to win that one, but he screws over his Mega Maniacs. No, Mega Maniacs was Macho Man and Warrior. So what was Hogan and Warrior? The Ultimate Maniacs? One or the other. Yeah, it has to be Ultimate Warrior, Hulkamaniacs, Ultimate Maniacs. Screwing him over. But I sat through 44 minutes of this. This was a good best of Royal Rumble. I can say that I'm fired up for it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it was great for a best ofs. 44 minutes flew by, didn't drag at all. So go check this out on the WWE Network. I highly recommend you guys checking it out. Santino is a great host to do just about anything on the WWE Network. I'd highly recommend them to bring him back. I forgot the way he pronounced a lot of guys' names. Shout out to John Cena out there, calling the WWE, WW, not pronouncing the E at all. Lots of things like that. Always got the biggest laugh from me out of Santino. So, clicks up to you, buddy. I'll see you down the road and hope to see you hosting more shows on the WWE Network.